Okay, today we're gonna look at the Web3 React library, and that is their homepage. It's written by Noah, and it is a very good library. And if you scroll down, you have the edit on sandbox. It gives you a few examples of how to connect to different wallets, which is pretty helpful. Check it out, yeah. And then for this video, we're gonna talk about what this for, how does it achieve this functionality, and then we're gonna run a few examples with like Metamask, walletconnect, and Coinbase. And we're gonna do a connect, disconnect, and also how to send a transaction to a contract. Okay. And the goal of this video is you'll be able to use Web3 React in your React.js project and to connect to any wallet, and you'll be able to debug or customize your own connectors. And it runs a few examples to show you that it's actually working. So I don't know, like especially if you come from a backend development, and it's at least gonna save you some time. All right. So let's get started. What's this for? Some background. We have Ethereum, we have nodes, and in Fura, Acme, you can run your own nodes, no problem. And we have wallets, which just stores your private key, right? And those, they talk to each other through the RPC API. And then on top of that, we have Ethers.js, Web3.js, which is like an abstraction layer of RPC API, and makes those communication easier and easy to understand and user friendly. And on top of that, so then we have the Web3 React, which makes using Ethers.js or Web3.js or connect to those wallets easier in React.js projects. So I would say it's just for React.js projects, okay? And if you want to find a alternative, use Dapp is another example, and I think they have pretty much the same functionality. I haven't checked it out yet, but yeah, take a look, and they have pretty cool sites too. So yeah, check it out. And yeah, so we're gonna briefly look at how did they achieve it, and what's they actually doing behind the scene, right? We won't go through all the details of React.js or the code of their library, but just like briefly. So if you have any issue, you know where to find it and where to debug it. Just before I confuse you, we have the tab here called Web3 Test App. This one is our own Dapp, and the page looks like this, okay? And sometimes I drag a window over, shows Web3 React 6. This one is a library that we're using. So that's the source code of the library, okay? So let's go back to our own app. In the app.js, we have the Web3 React provider, comes from the library. We wrap our code inside of it. So this basically just a context provider. And for all those components that's wrapped inside, we have access to the Web3 context it provides. And if you look at here, over top here, and we have React Web3 React custom hook, which gives us those access to those contexts. Okay, and then over here, I'm just gonna quickly go through the code so you know that I wasn't lying, right? So you see there is a use Web3 React, which is the custom hook, returns the custom context. returns a React.js context, use like the hook use context, right? And then this one returns a Web3 React context interface that has connectors, library, chain ID, account, and also extends those functions, activates, arrow, or deactivates. And you may notice that we do have a library, a get library function here passed into here, right? And then the library takes a provider. Where does the provider come from? If you just follow their code, you'll see that in their manager they have activate function, takes a connector, and the connector has the argumented update function here. And then when you're trying to find the provider, it's like connector.getProvider. So each of them gonna have its, like each different connector gonna have its different like providers. For example, if we go to the connector, injected connector, which is over here, okay? And then you can see that they have get provider function returns window.ethereum, and then the wallet connect, if we look at their connectors, their provider, they return their own like wallet connect provider, okay, which is from imported from here, okay. And the same for wallet link. And if you look at the source code here, and yeah, get provider, this provider comes from also window.ethereum. So like it depends on the wallet, you get like different providers, okay. So that's pretty much the code. And you can see like in each connector you have they implement the activate function, deactivate function, and etc. So yeah, they just like simplify those things for you. Okay, I know it's already gets so confusing, and it's hard to explain on the screen unless I take like an hour recording. Otherwise, it's easier for yourself just like go into the code and read them line by line. Pretty much it. So let's run some example. So the purpose of this is I want to show you it's actually working, and it's working fine. So when you encounter some bug, you know it's something wrong with your code. Okay, so today is December 29th, 2021. So the latest version working, just so you know. And we're gonna do some comparison. Okay, first let's start with Metamask, and that's how they connect to Metamask. You just get the context .activate and put in the connector. We have all those connector configured here, and if you want to take a look, and I'm gonna push the code to GitHub. So we have the injected connector, wallet connector, a wallet link. Feel free to use all those like keys, they are free, so I don't care. So with Metamask, they just call .activate, and I still want to show you that what actually under the hood they are calling this activate function, which in this line you see they activate those like connection to Metamask. This is their code, just to be clear. So we go back here, just a refresh just in case, and then we connect to Metamask. They ask us to look at here, it's not connected right now, right? And then we put our password. You can see it's connected, and this is the account address or the wallet address. And then it's CDB, and CDB here, exactly the same. If we click here, it's gonna print out those context. You see it has the functions and those variables. So basically, if you use Web3 React library, you can have this context like in all your components, so you don't have to passing those components, passing those variables around, or making like React.js context or whatever. So after connected, here we can disconnect, right? So here you see right now this is the context. Once we click disconnect, all those contexts becomes undefined. Okay, but for Metamask, it's a little bit different. If you see here, you are still connected, because for Metamask, the user has to log out by themselves. You have no control over the disconnect function, because they believe that even you hold those public key or public address, you have no use of it. It's not authentication. It's basically just like the connection. It's more like I hold the public address. I hold the public address. So yeah, that's how it works. So the disconnect, if you see in their code, just for Metamask, the disconnect function, it just remove all those listeners, nothing else. Okay? Then if I see this one is still connected, right? If I click this again, it won't ask me for password or anything. It's just gonna pick it up right away, because I'm gonna show you now we have access to those contexts again. It's a special case for Metamask, I would say. And you will see it is different for walletconnect and Coinbase. Now if I disconnect, you'll see window.ethereum. There isn't much you can see here, but see, it still have the selected address. So it's still connected. It still keeps tracking of those address. And we could use Metamask to do those like authentication, but that's out of scope of this video. We can do another video or just look it up. Okay. And let's back to vanilla JavaScript, this component. In vanilla JavaScript, we can write those code to connect to Metamask, and it's gonna have exactly the same function. We use window.ethereum.request and do this. By the way, those are all in those like Metamask documents. You can just check, just look it up, and you'll find it. Then we get our account and we get our library. And the only thing here is when we get our account or library, it's in this component. So if we want to use this in other components, we have to find our own way to do that. And Web3 React basically handle those things for you and make life easier. So just to prove that it's actually working, give it a refresh. Now I got nothing connected. If I click here, connect to Metamask, it pops up. This side is our vanilla JavaScript. Doing the same thing. It's connected, and we see those accounts. And that's it. Okay, we are connected. So the next thing we're gonna do is to write to contracts. Okay? So I log out here and give it a refresh. I want to connect with Metamask here. Then write to contract. So we want to write a number to our smart contract. By the way, we have the test smart contract here. This is the address, This is the code. It's pretty much doing nothing, just store a number and allow you to retrieve a number. Okay, this is the Etherscan. Current number is 17. When we click this button, it's going to run this function over here, write to contract. So that's pretty straightforward, that we're gonna get our contract, this function to get a contract. Again, no details here, we just read the code. And then you can pass in a library and an account. And remember that with Web3 React, you have access to the library and account anywhere, in any component. So you can do it anywhere you want. Then you set the override, you set the gas limit. It's just set it to a large number, and we can come back to the gas limit later. For Metamask, so to put it simple, that Metamask was able to calculate the gas limit, but so for some other wallets like walletconnect or Coinbase, they are not able to calculate the gas limit, so we need the override here to set the gas limit. It all depends on which wallet you're using. Okay, and then it's gonna give us a response. We're gonna send an alert, says, hey, we're gonna write this number to the contract. Okay, let's give it a try. We're connected, still connected. Write it. It's gonna charge us some gas. And then we confirm. We're writing number 4 to the contract. Okay, we'll give it a few seconds, and then you see it was 17, right? I refresh the page, go back here, retrieve it, it's still 17. Okay, it becomes 4. Okay, so we wrote the number to the smart contract using the Web3 React. And over here you can do, here we call the store function, and here if you are doing it for NFT or you're doing for some other tokens, you can just write your own function. And again, out of scope of this. So for vanilla JavaScript, how to write it? Here we also call the get contract, the same function here. This is vanilla. Same function here. Takes the library, takes the Web3 account. So exactly the same pattern as this one. The only difference is I only have access to those two, library and accounts, in this component. If I want to use it in other components, I might need to write my own custom hook to pass in those contexts around. Right, and to show it's exactly the same thing, go back here. I'm gonna lock it and clear everything. I'm gonna connect Metamask on this side. By the way, what I did in our demo, I just keep those like library and accounts in the states. But for you, if you really want to write your own, you might want to write your own custom hook, and then it's you can use them in your whole application. So write to contract, and when I click confirm, it didn't give me a number. That's bad. Okay, you should give me I should use plus here. It just like you can see, I should have plus here instead of a comma. Okay, but it wrote a number, and we can remember it was 4, right? And then if we go back here, refresh it, it should be something else, a 0. Okay, so it wrote a new number. If you look at the code here, it basically just gets a random number, so nothing fancy. Alright, so yeah, that's enough about Metamask. So for Metamask, we just need to know the disconnect function is a little bit funny, and they don't really disconnect it from here. So the user, right now, even you see we got disconnected, the user has to disconnect themselves. Otherwise, I can connect either one because the information are stored in the window.ethereum. So I click connect, I get connected right away. And never disconnect. Here, sorry, here I click it, I got connected, right? And I don't need to disconnect. Okay, next example, wallet connect. You can see we have this function for wallet connect, and the first thing we need to be care of is for me, I want to reset the wallet connect connector each time before the connection. The reason is I can get rid of this for now, and if you look at the wallet connect, it shows up, right? But if I close this, click it again, it won't show up again. It's maybe a bug or something that we could look into it later, but for now the solution is just to reset it every time before you enter it, and it works well. So if I refresh now and then connect, fine, connect, it's fine. Okay. And another thing with wallet connect is you can read up this page. It's about the security context. It needs to be HTTPS, and you saw it was fine here when I do localhost, but if I drag this window here, you see this is like connecting from the same network, but another computer. Now if I do wallet connect, you can't really see what's happening here, but you can see the whole page just froze. And if you find this issue, okay, let me refresh it. Okay, if you find this issue, the solution is go here, the package.json, and in your start scripts, add this line. Okay. Again, the details can be read over here, and if you're interested, then let's restart our server. Save it first, restart our server. Okay, of course, this time you have to enable those like security thing. Okay. Now, if I go back to the page, remember we need to add HTTPS here. Wallet Connect is working fine. So it's just something like, if you find, it's not like Wallet Connect specific, it's those HTTPS thing, okay? And after we got those things ready, then let's connect the wallet. Okay. Okay, for Wallet Connect, we are actually gonna use our phone. So I'm gonna have this over here so you can see what's going on. Oh, this over here, make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, and when I click Wallet Connect, it shows me of course you have other like connect method. Right here I'm just gonna show you the QR code. So on my phone I'm gonna use Metamask. It supports like many wallets that's on their official website, you can check it out. For me, I'm just gonna do the Metamask. So 1 second. Gonna connect my phone to the computer, as you can see over here. Alright, we have Metamask, and then we click the scan icon on the right corner. We scan this. It asks us to connect. We click connect. Okay, and it's been connected. How do we know that? same thing. We check the Web3 context, and you can see everything is here. Okay, and then one thing about it is, if you go to application, local storage, it actually adds those things to local storage, so it's stay connected. What I mean is, if right now, if I want to write to the, I want to see my phone too. Okay. 1 second. I hope I can explain it clear. So right now, if I click over here, click the write to contract over here, you can see on my phone it pops up this window, and I can reject it or confirm it. If I reject it, click here, see, I will know it like right away. It has been rejected. It's gonna throw an error. It's been rejected, and we can handle it like whatever we want. And if we do it again, pops up. This time we're gonna confirm it. Okay, so when we confirm it, and you can see same thing happened. We got a new random number, and we write the number to the contract. So we click OK, and you see this time it's 58. Okay, so go back here, check the number, 58. Okay, it's completed. Good. What's wrong with this one? Is there any issue with this one? Yes. So check it here. If I click disconnect now, it's gonna get rid of all those local storage for me. I show you. So disconnect. Oh no, it just removed one key, and that's good enough actually. So it's only removed the wallet connect key for me, and then we know it's no longer connected, right? So it's no longer connected, everything's fine. And if we want to connect again, we have to scan the code again. So everything's fine so far. And I'm gonna scan the code and I'm gonna connect. Okay, everything's fine so far. The issue is, what if I did not click the disconnect? Go back up here, and we have this key over here. I did not click the disconnect. I just do a refresh. Those WebSocket connection got lost, but we still keep the old wallet connect key here. So at this moment, if we click wallet connect, it won't pop up the window because it's connected automatically for us, and it shows our ID here. You can see. This time, I'm gonna write to contract again. You see on my phone, it pops up the confirmation window, but I'm going to click reject. Okay, I'm going to click reject. It's rejected on my phone, but you can see nothing happened on this window because this key was not refreshed. It's not refreshed to a new one, so our WebSocket connection got messed up. That's what happened. And because we know exactly what happened, we could come up with any solution that we like to. And just as a temporary solution, what I did is on the window load, I clear the local storage. I know you can come up with a better solution, and you can just like clear the exact key that you want, and it's all up to you. I'm just showing you that it works. Okay, so we're gonna save this, go back here, do refresh, and you can see the local storage is empty. Now, wallet connect again. Connect to the wallet. I click connect, everything is fine. I'm gonna do a refresh. Okay, I'm gonna do a refresh. And connect, it's gonna ask me for to connect it again, so that the old key is not stored. If I connect it again and I send a request, to write to the contract, you see over here, and then I'm going to click reject. If I click reject, the connection is the communication is working, right? So that is another issue that we want to solve. Yeah, issue with HTTP and issue with communication. Those are two issues. Okay. Then, what about vanilla JavaScript? Let's go back here, look at the vanilla JavaScript code. And I won't go through the detailed code of it, but it's doing the same thing, okay? It's doing the same thing as a library. It's gonna, as a Web3 React library, it creates a library, it gets an account, it sets to the state, and then we have access to it. So I'm just gonna quickly show you it's working, and it works the same way. Okay, so if I connect to the wallet, and this time, the same thing, and I can write to the contract, and I don't want to do it here anymore, but then I'm gonna reject it. You can see it's being rejected. Okay, so everything is fine so far. And then you see we have this in the application, and then when I click disconnect, it removes it for me. The reason is, in our disconnect function, we actually call the wallet provider .disconnect. But oh yeah, it's the same. Sorry. And in the wallet connector over here, the wallet connector, in their disconnect function, deactivate, they call the same thing. So that's why they also just remove those keys for us. Okay, it's a same. Okay, now it's okay. Now the last one is Coinbase. Okay, and we're gonna. So it's the same thing here. That is the Web3 React code for connect to the Coinbase, and it uses the wallet link. And when I click here, it shows me the QR code, and I scan it. I'm in. You see my account over here, and I can send the contract. It's gonna show up here, and it's the same thing. I'm gonna confirm this time, and then it writes 35 to Etherscan. So if I lost that Etherscan link B here, and contract, I'm gonna copy this address over here. Remember it was 35, right? And here we got 35, so it's successful. And you can see the disconnect function is a little bit different. So for example, if I disconnect here from Web3 React, everything is still here. So when I click connect, I connect back. I can disconnect, connect without anything. And say for example, the user wants to change to another wallet, they do a refresh. Oh, sorry, I can get rid of that. Actually get rid of. I'm gonna get rid of this one for now. Okay, and now I'm gonna do a refresh. So that's a problem with Coinbase. So when I connect, I do connect again. Not with Coinbase, basically the way it disconnect. So now I disconnect, I can connect back. I disconnect, I can connect back. Like there's no way for us to disconnect. Even when we refresh a page, the storage is still here. We can disconnect. And the user might think, hey, what about I close the browser? Right? And I go to the same thing, HTTP. Yes. And check it here. The local storage is still here. Then they can connect. There's no way for them to log out, which is bad. That's why I also like this code, the local storage clear code in our code here. Then when the user refresh, they are able to log out completely. You see this local storage disappeared and they have to connect again. But we could improve that in our vanilla code. See, I don't have this one. I comment out this one, and I'm going to connect to Coinbase, the same thing. And then when I click disconnect, it's clear it for me. The reason is for the vanilla code that the disconnect function is calling wallet link provider.close, which do the cleaning. It's gonna do the cleaning up for us. And in the library, they just remove the listener when they deactivate. So it's up to you that you could even add this .provider .close. This is gonna clean up things for you, or just like what I did over here, that you could clear the local storage every time, as long as you know what side effect it has, right? As long as other part of your application does not rely on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope this helps, because it takes me about like 1 day or two to figure out those things. And now I think you should be able to modify the library to meet your needs. And I just show you that it works for 3 wallets, and it also works for like the rest of the wallets. So yeah, have fun. And if you have any question, let me know. And I know it's kind of like my first YouTube video, so it's not explaining very well. So let me know, like, and if there's anything about React.js I wasn't clear or I wasn't saying it correctly, also please comment it below, and I would love to hear them. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.